This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
It's decision time, NASCAR fans. Who gets you the points? Who gets you the wins? Who gets you the bragging rights? Who gets you the championship? Sign up and play today at NASCAR.com/fantasy.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the virtual Martinsville Speedway as we bring you the iRacing eNASCAR Gander Outdoors Pro Invitational. 20 familiar names are getting ready to strap in for 100 laps around the paperclip with pride and bragging rights on the line in this special event on RaceSpot TV and the iRacing Esports Network. Happy to have you along for the ride with us this evening. My name is Tim Terry, joined by two-time Daytona 500 champion and NASCAR on Fox's Michael Waltrip, and NASCAR Race Day Gander Outdoors Truck Series host Caitlin Vincey. Hugo Louis is at the control for tonight's production, along with Randy Cheneth and Justin Prince. Getting ready for 100 laps. Michael, what do we expect out of tonight's race at the Martinsville Speedway?
It's always fun when you come to the paperclip. The action is intense. You're going to see high-speed truck wrestling. These guys are going to be all over each other. And I just love iRacing. I love the view I'm seeing, the way the fans have filed into the stadium, and the trucks are going to be fun to watch. So I look forward to tonight.
These drivers have been practicing, getting ready for this. Qualifying is set to come up, Caitlin, and this is going to be an exciting race. We've got some familiar names, familiar faces that are getting ready to hit this racetrack. Who are you seeing that might be able to take away the win tonight?
Oh, yeah. I mean, to your point, familiar faces, Christopher Bell, past truck champion in the field, John Hunter Nemechek, a past Martinsville winner also in the truck series. And we've got also Kyle Long, the American football guard for the Chicago Bears in the NFL. He's with us. So I don't know. But I think, no disrespect to Kyle, I'm going to go with maybe a Christopher Bell.
And Christopher Bell just got into the practice session as qualifying. It's beginning here at the Martinsville Speedway, so these drivers will have about 5 minutes or so to put their quick time on the clock and get ready for this one. 100 laps at the Martinsville Speedway. You mentioned truck wrestling, Michael. How do you get to the front of the field if you're mired in the middle? You got to race iRacing for the first time today too, didn't you?
Yeah, I ran Martinsville in a cup car, and I ran a 1950, and I really got a feel for what it's like for these drivers to take what's real, what you've done behind the wheel, actually on the concrete turns at Martinsville, and then marry that with iRacing. And I slid up into the wall like you saw that truck doing just there. It's very difficult. It's challenging because you have to balance what you know is real and then what the truck likes to do on the simulator. And these racers these days, they use this simulator as a tool to get ready to go to these racetracks. So we have Noah Gregson that's joining, Christopher Bell, John Hunter Nemechek, as Caitlin mentioned, Todd Gilliland. I talked to a few of these guys and I said, what do you expect tonight in this race? And they said they expected to be able to qualify up front. It's a 100-lap race, and if you start up front, that's going to dictate being able to control your own destiny. But if you slide into the wall and start in the back to get to the front, you're going to have to use the bumper.
Just saw Christian Eckes on your screen in the 51, was one of those fastest drivers in the practice session, and it looks like he's going to hop to the top of the board with a 20.059. The 4 of Todd Gilliland on your screen, putting in some laps here. Put in almost 100 laps in the practice session that we had leading in to this evening's race, and he's on the clock now. Caitlin, what do these drivers have to do around this paperclip to try to get a good lap in?
Well, I don't really know the answer to that since I've never actually driven at this racetrack, but you're mentioning Todd Gillen. Obviously, I think going into this season in the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series. We have a lot of high expectations for someone like him. Just kind of entering this season, after what he did last year, wasn't able to get a victory. We've already heard his team owner, Kyle Busch, kind of setting that bar high for him, saying, look, you're in great equipment. You need to be able to perform. So I think there's a lot of expectation on Todd Gilliland's shoulders. And he's going to be looking to try and get that first victory in the Truck Series.
And he's going to have to dig off the start of this one. Qualified in position number 10, at least at this point. Still a couple of drivers to get on the racetrack. Noah Gragson on your screen. Michael, what are you seeing here as he dives it into corner number 1?
It looks like he's at Eldora, not Martinsville, as he backed it into the corner. The key to making a good lap here at Martinsville is to keep that truck heading in the right direction, which is the opposite of what we're seeing there from Noah Gragson. And Will Rogers, a real young and upcomer. He's been successful in the K&N Series. I just see these guys racing, and definitely during qualifying, trying to see the limits of these trucks. And we've seen a couple of spins, a couple of scrapes with the walls, but that corner, turns 1 and 2 from Will Rogers, that looked nearly perfect. And that's hard to do because there's such a thin line between putting the truck right where it belongs and giving up speed and then maximizing the speed you can have. But it looked like Rogers did a nice job there.
And it's the 7th quickest lap so far through the drivers that have taken time in qualifying. I believe the only driver that hasn't taken time is Kyle Long, and one of our new owners on the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing series. Great to have him join the series last week and joined us on the broadcast before we went racing 1 week ago. But now he's going to have to get behind the wheel and get up on the wheel. But up in front of the field, we have a couple of familiar names to the iRacing side of things. Parker Kligerman, Garrett Smithley have put in a ton of laps on this sim, and right now they are in the top 5. Christopher Bell, Todd Gilliland, some drivers that are outside the top 10. Kaylin, is there anybody else that you're seeing possibly that did not have a great qualifying lap that we might have to watch to muscle these trucks around in the first few laps of this one?
Not that I can tell. I'm having a little bit of a difficulty. I'm going to have someone help me show this. For some reason, my qualifying laps are not coming up very well right now.
Well, just a few moments away, and we'll get ready to head to the grid and get to see who is starting where in this 100-lap race presented by Gander Outdoors. As trucks will begin to grid, we'll go down and see who starts where in this one. And on the front row, Christian Eckes puts in a quick time of a 20.060. He'll start P1 to the outside. Austin Hill turned in almost 150 laps in the practice session. Looks like it paid off. He's going to start in a P2. Row number 2 is going to see the number 99 of Parker Kligerman. Derek Kraus on the outside in position number 4, outside of row number 2. Row number 3 sees Garrett Smithley on the inside. To the outside, Myatt Snyder in the Tax Slayer 27 going to qualify in 6. Row number 4 comes up as Will Rogers. We saw him put in his qualifying effort. To the outside, Tyler Ankrum going to roll from position number 8. As row number 5 comes up on your screen, Anthony Alfredo and Justin Haley, your top 10 starters. And then we head back to row number 6, and we see two familiar names that are going to have to dig early here. Christopher Bell and Todd Gilliland will comprise row number 6. Watch them come towards the front of the field. Ryan Vargas and John Hunter Nemechek in row number 7. And row number 8 sees Noah Gragson. He'll have to dig from position number 15. Max McLaughlin from position number 16. And we look back through the field. I believe Kyle Long is also going to join us from position number 17. So there is your starting grid. The trucks begin to form on the front straightaway as we get ready to go green. Michael, what do you expect now that we have everybody gridded, everybody's ready to go? What do you expect out of these first few laps of this race?
Chaos. I think these drivers will be all over each other. We saw a lot of challenges for some of our competitors, guys like Christopher Bell that we thought would be right up front that struggled in qualifying. So I just look to see guys like Max McLaughlin. He's on the outside. He's going to be battling to get down on the bottom of the racetrack. Maybe some contact into the back of John Hunter Nemechek. Who knows how this will all play out, because these gentlemen, racers, and I say that because we haven't thrown the green yet, are going to turn into monsters. are going to go out there and they're going to beat and bang. Austin Hill won the race in Daytona, the biggest track on the circuit. Now he's on the front row here at Martinsville, the smallest track on the circuit. So they're certainly set up to see a fun afternoon, evening of racing. And Christian Eckes, a kid that I raced go-karts with a couple of years ago, and he's just getting started. It's just really fun to see how mature, how much experience these guys have at such a young age. And iRacing is a big part of that. The reason why they know how to take the turns at Martinsville is because of iRacing, and it gets them ready to compete when they get to NASCAR. And this is certainly a great example of that, and watching these kids compete tonight here on iRacing.
A little taste of what we're going to have before we hit the racetrack on Saturday with the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series 1 to green. Caitlin, how do you see the first couple laps of this race play out? Obviously, these guys are going to go for the win, but it's early in the race. How do you see the first couple laps playing out?
I mean, I think to Michael's point when he said there's going to be chaos, there probably will be. Obviously, a lot of anticipation. These guys just kind of going all out, being aggressive right from the start. I have all my technology working now. I'm kind of keeping an eye on Noah Gragson. Obviously, he's a past winner at Martinsville, a very memorable one. I'm sure you guys remember him getting sick afterwards after he took the checkered flag for that victory. But I'm going to keep an eye on him and see how he progresses through the field.
Might be a little easier on this one. Green flag is out. We're underway. We go down into corner number 1. Christian Eckes going to get out with the early lead. We got one halfway around in corner number 2. They save it, and it looks like we're going to be 2 and maybe even 3 wide in the middle of this pack. We talked about drivers in the middle of the pack trying to get to the front. Gilliland up the hill in corner number 3, but Michael, for the most part, it looks like everybody got through lap number 1 clean.
Well, they clean, I guess, but it wasn't from the lack of trying to mess it up. A lot of slipping and sliding. You could see the truck ahead there, Parker Kligerman. That's a nice entry into the corner. Kind of take it a little bit high, and look, he hugs that curb on exit. Got a lot of the NASCAR community watching tonight. I just got a message from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. who says, let's see what these boys do. I think everybody's really interested in the NASCAR community in iRacing and who can grab the checkered flag in this Gander Outdoors Series race.
And so far so good up in front for Christian Eckes, and you look out the back looking back at this field, and right now Austin Hill about a truck length behind, and the top 5 seem to have it figured out. Caitlin, everybody's single file, a little bit of a gap back to position number 6, but everybody seems up front to content to ride. As the caution flag comes out, we've got the 20 truck around. That's John Hunter Nemechek going around out of corner number 4 to bring out our first yellow flag. Little bit of damage to that race truck, but these drivers do have a few quick repairs or quick tows, and on the race spot replay just going around at a corner number 4 may have had a little bit of help, and it looks like they checked up a little bit in front, Caitlin.
It's got to be disappointing for John Hunter Nemechek. I feel like the expectations were pretty high for him as a past winner at Martinsville.
But what about that burnout? Let's get going again. So if he wins the race, he's got that down. Nice recovery there from John Hunter, like you talked about. We can make fast repairs to these things. That would have been a collision that possibly would have taken him out of the race in the real world. But in iRacing, he's able to get to pit road, make some repairs, and he's still in this thing.
And it looks like the only driver on pit road at the front is Christian Eckes. He's going to come down pit road from the lead, surrender that top spot, and come down, probably get 4 fresh tires and go to the back of the field. It is early in this one, but Michael, do you like the strategy there? He's going to have a lot of traffic to contend with.
No, I hate that idea. Why would you pit from the lead? Maybe he just got below that yellow that cone on the back straightaway and was forced down, but I don't like that at all. We saw what can happen to drivers if they get caught back in the pack. The result, the reason why John Hunter crashed was just traffic. Somebody lost their momentum. He went high, he was clipped, and into that inside safer barrier he went. So I really don't understand exactly why you would give up the lead, but I've been impressed with Parker Kligerman so far and Austin Hill, both those guys right up front. See if they can remain there. It's going to be a challenge because these restarts at Martinsville, they're almost like the restarts at Daytona and Talladega. You've got to pounce. You've got to go. You've got to make yourself aggressive and try to get those positions. And generally, when people get aggressive, especially at a track like Martinsville, you see contact and you see spins.
And Michael, how do you kind of at a racetrack like Martinsville, you obviously have a lot of experience there in truck, cup, how do you balance being patient but also aggressive?
Well, the truck races are so short, Caitlin, just 100 laps here. You've really got to go. And balancing it is difficult. And the reason why I say that, even if you're leading, you've got to decide how much you want to try to cut the guy off behind you if he's trying to pass. So every move you make, there's a consequence for it. If you block, you put yourself in a position to be dumped. And we're going to see some dumping in this race tonight. So I just like to be charging. I want to be full speed ahead from the word go, because I think if you're defensive, that's a good way to get wiped out.
I think we saw a lot of that in the back of the field at the first couple laps. That we saw that with that first incident, those guys trying to charge towards the front. The guys up front seem to get single file, and a lot of those guys have raced as iRacing sim before, so maybe that's helped a little bit. Everybody's been on here before getting laps in, but Parker Kligerman and Garrett Smithley on that outside row, they seem to know what to do in Martinsville in a C-Class NASCAR Gander Outdoors truck. So we'll see if that experience pays off here. Austin Hill on the inside of this restart. Green flag is back out. 9 laps completed. Great start for Austin Hill. And look at that, Garrett Smithley already to the inside, and they're going to check up, and there goes Kligerman around into the wall, and the caution flag will fly one more time. And there it is. Everybody charging towards corner number 1, Michael, and we've got 5-6 trucks around in corner number 1.
Yeah, that's what you're going to see sometimes here at Martinsville, especially with the truck racers. They know they don't have a whole lot of time to get the job done, and they get a little overzealous, I guess. And I like green flag racing. I like when they really make passes without using the bumper, but we're going to see a lot of crashing. That's what I said before we even started this race. These guys are going to be aggressive and put themselves in vulnerable positions, and hopefully, they just put their fate in someone else's hand, and when you do that, generally that hand smacks you.
Guys, we see Austin Hill right now holding down that top spot. Michael, what do you think's impressed you the most about him, what you've seen so far in the Truck Series season?
I just like how he's taken this opportunity he has with his championship team, and he's running with it. Won Daytona the first time out, but more importantly, he's been competitive in every race since then. So I just like his spirit. I like where he's at as a driver. I saw him running in Atlanta. Must have been out there for about 5 miles running. He said, I want to be the most fit I can be. When I get behind the wheel of my race car, I want to be as confident as I can be and go out and get the job done. So his attitude, his work ethic, everything that he's doing this season to take advantage of this opportunity that he has driving that 16 truck, I'm just really impressed by everything.
And it looks like Austin Hill has come down onto pit road on this yellow flag. Tyler Ankrum is scored as your leader, and that 17 truck has a little bit of damage to the front end, but as we saw on that first exchange, he's not coming down pit road from the lead position, so he'll maintain that top spot. Myatt Snyder, Christopher Bell, Noah Gregson, and Christian Eck is once again in the top 5. So after coming down pit road on that first caution flag, Christian's made his way back up to position number 5. Michael, there's another up-and-coming driver that's really making a name for himself.
And I'd love to get down to the pits and ask these teams what their strategy is. I don't understand pitting from the lead. It seems to be a trend. I don't like it as a competitor, but certainly these pit crew, these crew chiefs and these engineers, the team down on pit road, they know more about what they're doing, but it really is a bit confusing to come to pit road, and maybe it's just to get themselves out of harm's way, you think. You go out there and you go in the first corner lead and get wiped out, you might think about pitting and being the aggressor coming from the back, but it's certainly a little bit confusing to me early on.
And it looks like we're still running under the caution flag, so a couple more laps and we'll be back to green flag racing. But we've seen Christian already come up through the field, and I don't think it's any sort of a strategy call at this point, but maybe waiting for some things to happen in front like we just saw on that exchange, and already up to position number 5. And there's his view, Noah Gregson right ahead of him, and he'll start on the inside of row number 3 as we get ready to double these trucks back up and get ready to go back to the green flag. And from the front of the field to the back of the field and now up to position number 5, we'll see if he makes any sort of move here to get up near the front of the field, because Caitlin, it seemed like on that last restart they were quite aggressive.
Oh, I think that is goes without saying based on what we saw there before. I'm sure they're hoping not for a similar result on this restart in a bit.
green flag returns. We're back underway, and Tyler Ankrum going to lead them down into corner number 1, the outside line. Had that run, Amaya Snyder trying to clear Ankrum coming off of corner number 2. It looks like he will do so and try to take away that lead. Ankrum still at the left rear as they dive it down into corner number 3. And Michael, some great side-by-side racing up front.
Yeah, this is what we bought a ticket for, to see this type of racing. Really some good, solid moves here in the front of the field as these guys try to sort it out early in the going. I like what Ankrum's doing. He's our 2018 Can-In Series champion. He's got one top 10 finish. He ran 6th at ISM, and ISM out in Phoenix, Arizona is a tough racetrack, and he's done a nice job. And we all know how aggressive Noah Gragson is and how much he wants to win these races. Got the big victory here a couple years ago, and like Caitlin said, got up on the fence and celebrated. Might have barfed on the front straightaway, which is cool. I mean, I want
That's
them
one way to do it.
Yeah, I want them to put everything on the field, and certainly that day, Noah Gragson did just that.
And Michael, there's a number of guys obviously in the field who will be competing in the truck race at Martinsville on Saturday. How beneficial is it doing these sessions on iRacing to help prepare you for the actual thing?
I love it, Caitlin. It's a Tuesday night, and we have some of the biggest stars in NASCAR, not only the Gander's Outdoor Truck Series, but also the Xfinity drivers and Cup racers. We know that will be a story one day. They're out here mixing it up, and it's so fun to watch. You can see Eckes, that's a nice move to the bottom. Does he try to dive bomb? Bell? No. Falls back in line, but this is a great view of what it's like to race at Martinsville. And these drivers, while they're having a good time on a Tuesday night, they're benefiting from this experience.
You better believe, though, they want to get this victory. It's a 27.
Whoa.
Little sideways. Snyder up in front, going to lose a couple of positions, and now he's quickly going to have to reset and try to get back towards the front. And there's that move from Eckes to the inside. Christopher Bell made his way up to what was second. Little contact there, little bump and run out of corner number 4. These guys are wasting no time getting at it.
What great racing we're seeing. The caution flags early were a little bit frustrating to me, but now this is just Martinsville. This is guys using the chrome horn to move people out of the way. Todd Gillen to the bottom of the racetrack trying to grab a spot from Christopher Bell. That one truck just disappeared for a second, and there he was back right in your lap. And then what's happened here? Into the inside wall. That's a huge hit for Christopher Bell.
That will draw the caution flag again, and that was a hard hit on the inside. It's a good thing that they have a couple of resets on this evening, as it looked like Michael, he just lost control of it.
That's what it looks like a lot of times at Martinsville, but if you back up, there was probably a little bit of contact. But these racers, they know how important it is to get that gas down early, to squeeze that throttle as hard as they can, as soon as they can. That's where you make up a lot of time here at Martinsville. Maybe Christopher got just a little aggressive on the gas pedal and it got away from him, but I wouldn't be too surprised if somebody didn't bump him. Whoa, there's a big fake going to pit road. We saw Christian Eckes dive like he was going to the pits, decided to stay on the track.
Michael, you're talking about coming to pit road, and I know we discussed this a little bit earlier this week, our broadcast team. What are the challenges at Martinsville with this particular tight pit road conditions?
You know, it's just, you just try your hardest to take advantage of any situation. And so when you have the pit road at Martinsville, your pit road speed it varies. When you're going around the turn, you can run a little bit more RPM because it's a little bit further. When you're going straight, you have to drop it down. And then the boxes, they're the smallest on the NASCAR circuit. So these drivers are challenged with getting in and out of their box. So it's not only the half-mile concrete corners that you have to challenge at Martinsville when you're out there running over 100 miles an hour down these straightaways. It's also trying to get everything you can get on pit road. Those are quite different challenges, but each one of them can provide dividends if you're able to take advantage.
Looks like Austin Hill got the free pass. He'll be back on the lead lap when we get going again. So 15 trucks scored on the lead lap, and keeping the racing going here is Christian Eckes out in front. That fake was pretty neat. There was no cone there. There was no violation at one. So staying out in front, Myatt Snyder, Todd Gillen, Garrett Smithley back in the top 5 after being going to the back of the field after that second caution flag of the evening, Will Rogers scored as your top 5. So these guys will get back at it, I believe, in 2 laps' time, as Eckes out in front, from the front to the back, all the way back to the front one more time. And Caitlin, a little bit of a glimpse of what we're going to see on a Saturday, and you get it all started with NASCAR race day, don't you?
That's right. Yeah, we'll be on Fox this week doing the pre-race show. Jeff Hammond, Todd Bodine, a 2-time Truck Series champion, will be joining me in the studio for our pre-race show. And then obviously Michael Waltrip with us right now, Vince Welch, Phil Parsons. They'll take care of all the action at the racetrack.
And Michael, you have to be excited. Obviously, Martinsville coming up. That's one that everybody circles on the schedule when the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series hits the racetrack.
No doubt, and it's been a great start to the season. We've seen a lot of competitive racing. Kyle Busch came over and wiped them up a couple times, but you know, when we go to the races, it's always fun to see who's able to step up and challenge Kyle, who can be there and beat him. We saw Cole Custer out at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana be able to beat Kyle, and then people start talking about Cole Custer ought to be in the Cup Series because he's good enough to beat Kyle on Saturday. That's what's at stake for these guys. You beat Kyle and people are going to start talking about you as a winner. As Todd Gilliland, what a move there going down into turn 1. He rooted his way on the inside past Myatt Snyder, and now he's going to set sail toward the front.
You had Myatt on the outside of row number 1. It looked like Christian was trying to bait him a little bit to get going, and Christian got the best of that restart, and now you see these drivers going at it. There's Derek Krause on the outside trying to roll the top, Parker Kligerman to the inside, and just in front of them, Garrett Smithley to the inside of Will Rogers. That's the battle for position number 3 as they dive it down into corner number 3, and it looks like Parker able to roll the first of that corner and not able to get it on the outside because Garrett Smithley is there. Do you see Parker using the chrome horn here at all, Mikey?
I just love watching Garrett Smithley run toward the front. I know this kid's got a lot of talent. He slides inside of Will Rogers there. Parker Kligerman, an experienced truck racer, a couple wins. He's able to hang right with Smithley, but I just appreciate the fact that Garrett's got a nice ride here. He's in a position to try to win this race, and he's got a lot of experience and a lot of heat right behind him in Parker Kligerman. But Smithley's done a really nice job as we hop on board with him here and see those RPM go up toward 9,000 as he runs toward the corner. And then look at that, hugging the curb right off, just like you'd want to do. That was a textbook lap around Martinsville Speedway for Garrett Smithley, and he's able to drive just a bit away from Kligerman, who's in pursuit.
Kligerman likes this racetrack on the sim. I talked to Garrett Smithley a little bit earlier on. He's done a lot of iRacing, but Martinsville, not one of those tracks that's near the top of his list. But right now, it doesn't even look like it is, as Parker's on the back bumper of Garrett going at it. And you can see the telemetry on your screen as they dive it down into corner number 1. It looks like Parker trying to get that charge out of turn 2. Kalen, he'll look to the inside here.
And I've been keeping an eye on Todd Gilliland, just kind of hanging there right there behind Christian Eckes. You know, we talked about him earlier, came close to winning some truck races last season. And we have, you know, as I talked about earlier, high expectations for him. I think maybe he has his sights set on that 51 to try and snap this victory.
Looks like Tyler Ankrum might be slow on the back straightaway, might have a power issue, maybe a motor issue with that one off the restart, so he'll limp it back to pit road and get one of those quick repairs and get back on the racetrack. But up in front, Christian Eckes continues to lead. There's that gap back to Todd Gilliland in position number 2, and Todd nearly got the wall off of corner number 2, got that thing a little bit wide out of the corner, but you can see that on your screen. Your top 2 going at it as we'll complete lap number 37 this time by. The battle behind them continuing to intensify, and Parker Kligerman on his way towards the front of the field. He's to the inside of Myatt Snyder. Close little battle there, Michael, for position number 3.
And that's just a nice move. He was able just to squeeze to the inside, and that's how you make passes at Martinsville. You've got to hang that nose just on that left rear quarter panel of the guy you're racing and be able to take advantage of getting that low line. And you can see once you get hung outside, it makes it really difficult to get back in line. Kligerman's really good. You know what's interesting about Parker Kligerman? He's really good at Talladega, a big track, and he's really good at Martinsville, a small track. Kind of reminds you of Jeff Gordon or Jimmy Johnson, right? You've got to be versatile to be successful in NASCAR. Kligerman certainly proved that he is just that, takes that position away, and now he's going to try to set his sights on our front 2.
On the esports side of things, he has a team in the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing series that races here every second Tuesday night. You can see their next round next Tuesday when they head to the Texas Motor Speedway. But he's got Ashton Crowder in his car. He's got Logan Clampett in his car. So you better believe that they're watching the boss man right now and trying to tell him to get up on the wheel, because that's what they're going to do next Tuesday night. But right now, Parker in position number 3 and has about a second or so to catch the drivers in front of him. You look out the back, there's Garrett Smithley. He's made his way through. Max McLaughlin also there, and then Myatt Snyder's fallen all the way back to position number 6, so the outside line, not the place to be in that battle. And Caitlin, looks like he's fallen off the tailgate of this battle for position number 3.
Yeah, taking a look, I was keeping an eye on Myatt Snyder. Obviously, a guy who started racing just at 10 years old. He's raced everything from Bandoleros, Legends, late models, ARCA. So he had obviously a pretty good year last season in the Truck Series. He's one I'm kind of just keeping an eye on there, hanging right in the top 10.
Might be one of those that needs a caution right now, falling back, a little bit of damage to the back end of that one, and he is about to get moved. There goes Ankrum, and Ankrum into the back bumper, sends the 27 up into the wall. A little bit of a smoke show, and he'll keep it straight for the most part at least, but it looks like that thing is going to have a little bit of rear end damage. Hard to control as he goes down into corner number 1, but Michael, no caution.
Well, I like the fact that there's no caution. These guys at the front are really starting to see what their trucks are like on the longer run, their grip is like, and how the tire pressures have come up. That'll be key to winning here at Martinsville. I think that you have to make sure that you can be consistent and steady. And you can see there, Ankrum just got dumped. Around he went, and that's part of Martinsville. Every now and then you're going to get really mad because someone's just going to take advantage of you, put the bumper to you and spin you around. Todd Gilliland looks like maybe holding up Parker Kligerman here a bit, as you see Kligerman taking that wide arc into the turn. I love that. Now he can diamond the corner off and get to the bottom. That's how you gain momentum. I love what Parker's doing behind the wheel of that 99 truck. See there? Way outside. Now watch. He'll cut to the bottom and use the gas to see if he can drive alongside Gilliland. That is awesome. That's some great driving right there, and he's got that position.
Beautiful move to move up to position number 2, and about a second and a half between himself and Christian Eckes, who has pulled away from what is the battle for position number 2 in behind. It looks like Max McLaughlin's ready to move to the inside of Garrett Smithley. He goes, and Smithley trying to hold the top, and oh, by the way, trying to get around Todd Gilliland as well. Great little battle for position number 3, but Max McLaughlin, Caitlin, to the inside, and maybe looking for third here too.
Yes, and Christian Eckes, though, just continues to lead the field. Impressive showing for him so far. Obviously, he's racing part-time in the Truck Series this year in that 51 entry with KBM. But remember, he was a Snowball Derby winner back in 2016. So this guy, obviously, no stranger to the racing world. And right now, he's been not really challenged much for this lead.
Well, he's getting ready to be, because I love what Parker Kligerman is doing behind the wheel of that 99 truck. He's able to separate himself from the battle behind him, and I think will run down our leader, Christian Eckes. Christian better be ready for some company. And he also needs to be hearing from his spotter exactly how Kligerman made that move. His spotter needs to say, hey, Christian, look here. Parker went high on the entry and then swept low on the exit, maybe taking advantage of some momentum there. Be ready for that when the 99 gets there. Maybe that's something good that Christian could be doing right now as a racer. He knows the line. His spotter has told him the line that Kligerman is running. He needs to start experimenting with that. He's got a second or so lead. He can start playing around with his line to see if he can find anything there, because Parker Kligerman is on the march.
I think the other one that's on the move is Max McLaughlin. When Parker got to Todd for that battle for position number 2, Max was in 5th behind Garrett Smithley and was able to get by not only Garrett Smithley but also Todd Gilliland for position number 3. And he's turning about the same lap times as Parker Kligerman, at least the last few laps, but Garrett Smithley on his bumper now. He wants to start moving and get towards the front of the field. We are just past the halfway point in this one. 53 laps being worked on the board, and it looks like the last couple laps Parker was able to inch into that lead that Christian Eckes had, and now it's about stabilized 1.2 seconds between those top two as the battle on your screen continues to heat up. Position number 3, Max McLaughlin has it, and Garrett Smithley wants it.
And Garrett Smithley has a great opportunity here. He's got a fast truck. We see him work really hard in the Xfinity Series to try to get up front, but it just isn't working for him yet. But here tonight in the trucks, man, he's all over McLaughlin. He's down on that curb. You can see, gives him a little bit of shove. Todd Gilliland into the back of McLaughlin as well, but they all work it out. And on the march continues Garrett Smithley.
What do you guys make of Christopher Bell? I mean, he's someone we had obviously high expectations to going into this race. Past champion in the Truck Series, already won a race in the Xfinity Series. What do you guys think of his race so far?
Well, it's not been exactly like he hoped. Obviously, we've seen a lot of contact, but I like the repair damage, the quick repairs. You can get to pit road and fix your truck up. We're just past the halfway mark, Caitlin, so certainly still in contention. You can see he's got some clear track in front of him. He's running in 6th. I guarantee you Christopher Bell is still thinking, I'm going to win this race.
And you know what? His lap times aren't bad either. He's at the 21.1 mark, and that's about where Parker Kligerman, Garrett Smithley are. Christian Eck is still in the 21.0, just turned to 21.102 that last time by. So Christopher Bell is within the same lap times as your leader, but as we mentioned, he had to go to the back of the field, get that quick repair, and now he's 6.3 seconds back from what would be the lead. But as you can see just off the corner of your screen, that battle raging on for position number 4, Max McLaughlin and Todd Gilliland. If they continue to get at it, Michael, I would see Christopher Bell coming up here and possibly battling for at least position number 4.
Well, and what I like about Martinsville is you just gain, talked about their lap times are basically the same, but you gain a tenth a lap or so on a small track like this, you're going to make up a lot of ground. So you can see Todd Gilliland to the bottom there. He's able to make that move. Now he's going to zero in on Max McLaughlin to see if he can move up. All these racers, especially since we're having this long green flag run right now, they're all thinking just a tenth of a second better. Give me a tenth. Let me get that gas down just a little bit sooner. I'm going to be gaining ground on the leader. I'm going to be making moves, and that's what we're seeing right now. This is great racing. Gilliland's going to make some progress there against McLaughlin. I think that he'll get to the bottom here before another lap or two, and I just love seeing the speed. You can see it on the right there, up to 115, 16 miles an hour, all the way down to 70 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. Then you just bump somebody, knock them out of the way, and that's exactly what we saw there.
And that will draw the caution flag one more time. So the longest green flag run that we've had of this race will come to an end as the yellow flag comes out for Max McLaughlin. And we saw it on your screen. Those guys wanted to go battle for that position, and that's what happens. It looks like it'll gain a couple of positions for some guys behind, but there's the replay one more time. And Caitlin, looks like the 4 might have rolled into the corner a little bit quicker than Max McLaughlin did, and Todd Gilliland trucks on, and McLaughlin goes around.
Yeah, that is exactly what it seems has happened here. Todd Gilliland now out there in the top 5, hoping perhaps at this next restart to really make up some ground and go after the victory if he can. Got some guys coming to pit road.
Yeah, it looks like everybody is down on pit road, and I think this is the perfect opportunity to do so. You have a few laps on your tires, and you have the tires sitting there in the quick repair sitting there, so perfect opportunity to come down. And as you can see on your screen, that racetrack is fairly lonely as everybody's down on pit road to get service. The only driver on the racetrack, Anthony Alfredo, a couple laps down as the service goes on to pit road. And Caitlin, looks like everybody for the most part is taking 4 tires.
Well, I'm sure Michael could probably speak to this more, but is there any real surprise that we're seeing them take 4 tires on these cycle pit stops?
Well, Caitlin, you want tires, and if the competition comes behind you, if you're the leader of the race, Christian Eckes, when you pull down, you look in the mirror and you hope everybody comes with you. That's a perfect scenario because you will probably beat those guys off pit road, and you will have better tires than them. And plus, I gotta tell y'all, there's no telling how many Martinsville races I would have won in my Cup career if I had that quick repair. That would have been awesome because my car mostly was dinged up at Martinsville, and I think that would have been really good for me to have. But unfortunately, I didn't, and I never got to victory lane at Martinsville. But these competitors are using it, taking advantage of that option. It'll be interesting to see who gets this victory as we're inside of 35 laps to go.
We mentioned Garrett Smithley a little bit earlier on, had that little misstep on a restart and now finds himself in front of the field. Quick pit work from his pit crew, virtual pit crew, puts him out in front. Christian Eck is going to fall back to second, and Parker Kligerman now going to be on the inside. There's Christopher Bell going to restart in position number 4 with Noah Gregson in position number 5. So pretty much a brand new life to this race here with 65 laps completed this time by 35 laps to go. Christian Eckes had the lead, pulled away, looked like he had the fastest truck, but Michael, does he have the advantage now with this restart? We saw Garrett Smithley and Parker Kligerman fast on the end of that run.
Well, if I'm running up front, I don't want restarts. I've got myself established. I've got great track position. There's no one on my bumper. No one can hit me. So restarts are challenging. We saw it. Every restart we've had tonight, there's been contact, guys knocked sideways. So if you're leading the race, you don't want to see a caution if you're running 5th or 6th, and especially after everybody comes to pit road for tires, you like this opportunity. We see Eckes back up front. Christian Eckes is a great racer. He's a kid that's really coming into his own with the few Truck Series starts he's had. But I'm watching Garrett Smithley. I just want to see Garrett do well. I know how much it means to him to be running up front, and you can see how aggressive he was there on that start. He's able to take the lead.
Want to talk about aggressive? That battle for second continues on, and Christian Eckes had to do some stick handling to get that Gilliland to the inside 3 wide as you ride on board with Noah Gragson, and somehow they're going to come out of turn number 4 in one piece. Gilliland is going to be the big mover up to position number 2. The battle for third rages on. Kligerman trying to hold off a whole host of hungry drivers behind, and there's your early leader from this one, Austin Hill, all the way back up to position number 4. Caitlin, haven't talked a whole lot about Austin since the opening laps of this one, but now putting himself in contention.
Yes, he certainly has. But Michael, what's kind of the sense of urgency right now for these drivers? We obviously talked about before that last restart, we had 35 to go. So what is kind of the urgency for them as they know the laps, they're winding down?
Well, if you're Noah Gragson, the see is not to flip. Look at this hit right into that inside wall, and he gets pounded. And over he goes. That's horrible. That's a bad crash. I hope he can get quick repairs on that. He's going to need several of them. But that tells you about Martinsville, Caitlin. Just how as the laps wind down, the intensity goes up, and these drivers are going to start pushing harder and harder, and that means more contact. And if you can flip over at Martinsville and then get repaired and back in the race, you're certainly going to lay it all on the line. You're going to put it out there and say, I hope I don't crash, but if I do, I get tuned up and go at it again.
And Kyle Long also involved in that one. Will Rogers and Tyler Ankrum also getting a piece of that one. We're going to step away for just a few moments here on this eNASCAR Gander Outdoors 100 iRacing Pro Invitational. Don't go away. Grab your popcorn. We'll be back with the next 30 laps.
The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series returns to Martinsville for the STP 500 on March 24th. Tickets are on sale now. Call 877-RACE-TICKS or visit www.martinsvillespeedway.com.
That was going to happen.
The STP 501 you're not going to want to miss. Coming up on a Sunday, and of course coming up on a Saturday, the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series hits the racetrack here at Martinsville, and we've seen some, as Michael called it earlier, Caitlin, some truck wrestling already this evening, and I think we're going to see some more here in these final 30 laps. Garrett Smithley with the lead. Todd Gilliland going to start in position number 2, but Todd was the driver on the move on that last restart. Do you think we've seen our last caution flag here this evening, Caitlin?
I don't think so. I think the intensity is just going to continue to ratchet up as we've talked about as we get closer and closer to the conclusion of this race. And everybody's fighting for that win. And I do believe we're probably still going to see some more cautions before this thing is all said and done.
Just caught out of the corner of my eye, Noah Gragson and Max McLaughlin having a little bit of fireworks under caution. Looks like Noah Gragson was able to get that truck repaired and back out, and may have said a little hi, how you doing to Max McLaughlin on this caution flag. So, Michael, it looks like the tempers are starting to flare here with less than 30 laps to go.
Well, if somebody flips you over at Martinsville, you're going to be mad about it. I mean, that's just a given, and we're lining up for another restart. I expect more people to get mad. I believe that's probably expected at Martinsville, but with iRacing, it seems like these guys just want to take more chances. They want to really push and pound, and numbers are going to flare. Winning this race tonight is a big deal. NASCAR superstars have taken their night off, and they've turned it into a night of competition. So if someone does you wrong, you certainly want to let them know about it. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Caution waved off, or green flag waved off. We're going to do one more lap of caution. Couple of wave arounds here on this caution flag. Kyle Long, Noah Gregson, Tyler Ankrum, and Will Rogers getting their laps back, so they'll be back on the lead lap. I believe we'll have 15 on the lead lap when we get this thing refired one more time, and we'll get it going here in about a half lap time. 75 laps will be completed when we come back across the stripe. 25 laps left to go in this 100-lap Pro Invitational presented by Gander Outdoors. As the pace car will pull off, Garrett Smithley is your leader, but Gilliland was on the march on that last restart. We'll see what happens here as they come through corners number 3 and 4, and they get ready to see the green flag again. And the top two on it on that restart. The battle is going to be for third, but Gilliland trying to get into the back bumper of Smithley, trying to move him out of the way a little bit here.
He was. That was a nice job by Smithley, though, keeping his momentum and staying off that bumper of Gilliland. And look, around goes the field. There's Austin Hill sideways. That was Parker Kligerman, but they all keep them pointed straight. They're in the right direction. I don't think we're going to see a caution flag.
They all get back straight for the time being. Garrett Smithley still out in front. Todd Gilliland about a half truck length in behind, and that little stack up allowed a couple of drivers to work a little closer to the front of the field. Eckes and Bell in third and fourth. Derek Kraus has made his way back up to the top 5, but Garrett Smithley almost left that door open, Caitlin, down there in 1 and 2. And Todd Gilliland, we've seen him roll into the corner and make things happen, and right there once again into the back bumper Smithley.
Well, you know, the desperation's starting to set in as they're all clamoring to try and make it to the end of this race to try and snag the victory. And Michael, what do you think is kind of the mindset right now for Smithley? How precise do you have to be in terms of hitting your marks and really staying focused in the closing laps at a place like Martinsville?
Well, what you're trying to avoid doing, Caitlin, if you're Garrett Smithley, is looking in that rearview mirror. And how are you not going to look when you're getting pounded in the tailgate by Todd Gilliland? You got to see what he's doing. But ideally, Smithley will be able to flip that rear view mirror up and just not worry about it and drive his line. He's got the lead of this race. If he could just drive those laps like he did getting there, as you see how hard Todd Gilliland's trying, not only sideways, but then hit in the back. It looked like maybe Christian Eckes was into the back of him. Gilliland slow on the front straightaway. Can he recover? It's getting awful late in this race. We can get a quick repair on pit road early on and overcome it, but I don't know. We're inside 20 to go. We're inside the Gander Outdoors 20 to go. Can he overcome that big slip and slide there in the contact?
The great thing for Garrett Smithley is that happened, and now he's got a 1-second lead. The bad news is that now second place is Christopher Bell, and he's coming towards the front of the field. We saw it especially on that longer run that we had, that Christopher Bell truck seems to get a little bit better as they go along. Everybody running a fixed setup here, but it seems like Christopher Bell may be conserving his tires a little bit better on that longer run, but about 2/10 cut off that lead that last time by, but he can't look behind him either, Caitlin, because it looks like Christian Eckes is on the move as well in third.
It is, yeah. Obviously, you can see him there getting right up to the bumper of that 18 truck. But we know Christopher Bell has so much experience in these trucks. I would be surprised if he still isn't able to hold him off.
I can't predict it, Caitlin. They're all so crazy the way they run into each other and the contact you see. But you know, I still like what Smithley's doing. He's never won one of these races, but yet he's out there in front. And Bell's got a lot of heat from behind from Eckes. So that's exactly what Smithley wants to see as a leader. You want to see second back there battling, but when I say that, Smithley just missed the second corner, way out of the groove there, and that is going to allow those two battling for second to close right up.
Michael, you talked about the character on some of your cars at Martinsville, the battle scars, and you look at that battle for position number 2. Christopher Bell's rear bumper is used up. Christian Eckes' front bumper is beginning to get used up a little bit and a little bit on the back. So throw that quick repair thing out the window. It looks like there's some character starting to form on some of these trucks.
Oh, no doubt. You're going to have that at Martinsville. I can't even say the word on the back of Garrett Smithley's truck because it's all distorted. It's smella. And you can see Bell's.
A good word.
Bell's has been up too, but there's less letters in that, Caitlin, so it's easier to say.
And it looks like it might get a little bit scrambled again because Eckes is all over the back bumper, all over the back tailgate right there, trying to move him down to one, gets him up the racetrack. Bell up to the second groove. Eckes moves into position number 2, and we'll see if Bell can get back to the back bumper or if Eckes can drive away. And if he can drive away and try to catch Garrett Smithley, he's going to quickly run out of time to try to get there, Michael, because we're going to come to 12 to go this time.
I love it, though. What a great move by Christian Eckes. Very aggressive. He feels like he has a faster truck than Christopher Bell. He used the bumper. He pushed him out of the way. And now he's starting to close in on our leader, Garrett Smithley, looking in the mirror, seeing that truck behind him get bigger and bigger. That's not what you want to see as a leader. Like I said earlier, he liked looking back there and seeing those trucks battling for second. That was giving him a chance to breathe. But now you can see the 51 truck of Eckes is closing right in on the back of Garrett Smithley.
Lap traffic in front of your leaders too. That's Ryan Vargas about to go a lap down. So not only does Garrett have to look out the front or the back to try to see where Eckes is, he's got to look out the front, and that time 0.2 of a second cut off the lead. Christian Eckes is there. Garrett Smithley leading this thing. But now Caitlin, he's got some lap traffic to contend with. This could get a little bit tight down into 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Michael obviously can speak to this. How difficult is it trying to deal with lappers in Martinsville?
Well,
not a lot of room.
Vargas is on the lead lap. He's not going to give up easily. But you can see a big dive down to the inside for Smithley. He wasn't going to take a chance on waiting around long on Vargas. But look, because he had that interesting, that shallow entry into turn 1, it allowed, oh, look at there, allowed Eckes to close right in. And now he's looking to the inside of Smithley.
And we saw that move for the second place position earlier as Eckes now goes to the inside. He is there. Smithley to the outside, and we saw it on the end side of the corner. He used it going into turn 1, got that position, and Michael, now it looks like Christian Eckes is going to go to the lead.
He bumped him out of the way. We knew it was coming. Anytime you're a guy second and you close down on the leader like Eckes did, you're not going to mess around with him. You've got more speed. You're going to take advantage of that speed. Now it's going to be interesting to see, since Smithley doesn't have anybody in his rearview mirror, he can just focus on Eckes ahead. Is he able to put together 5 laps and get back to the back bumper of Eckes? It looks like Christian has a really strong truck right now. He's able to pull away a bit, so I don't know if he can get back there. But again, Caitlin mentioned it, how difficult the lappers are. There could be more traffic ahead.
And I almost think if you're Garrett Smithley, there's another truck coming behind you in Derrick Rose. We haven't talked a whole lot about Derrick this evening as we come down to 5 laps to go. Rose is there closing in, and now within about a half second of Garrett Smithley. Caitlin, can he make that happen for second in the late laps?
I don't really think so, but yeah, certainly Kraus has been kind of quietly in the conversation, but to me it looks like Christian, he's got decently smooth sailing for him so far right now. I'm not sure if I think that they can get it done with just 4 laps to go.
But still, you got to give a shout out to Kraus. He has one Truck Series start. Last fall, he finished 8th at ISM Raceway. He's just done a great job today. A kid just getting his legs under him. Beautiful truck there, the number 19. I think you got to say that if it ends like this, he's done a nice job, but he certainly wants more, and you can tell that by the way he shot into turn 3 a little bit too hard, missed the turn there a bit, but was able to keep the truck pointed in the right direction and didn't lose much ground to the battle ahead of him.
But he's running out of time to get there. He's using every piece of real estate around this Martinsville Speedway to make it happen. Was a little loose out of corner number 2 that last time by, but you can see that gap. It looks like Garrett Smithley's fallen back to about 3/4 of a second off the back bumper of this truck right here. Your leader, Christian Eckes, as they'll come by this next time and see 1 lap to go. They look back to your top 3. Derrick Rose is closing. Garrett Smithley is there in second, but up in front, Christian Eckes is going to see the white flag first. The final lap around as Ankrum goes 1 more lap down. White flag is out on the speedway as Eckes trying to close in on this victory on a Tuesday evening. At Martinsville, Smithley a little bit sideways, got the curb. Kraus is trying to move in to position number 2, but that's all it will be as Eckes is clean up in front. They'll work through corners number 3 and 4. Little bump for position number 2, but Eckes will come away with the victory in this eNASCAR Gander Outdoors 100 iRacing Pro Invitational. Smithley and Kraus, your battle for second comes down to the end with Smithley taking it away. And Michael, Derrick Kraus tried going into that final corner.
Yeah, it made an aggressive move, but for Christian Eckes, it's going up on a Tuesday. It's got to feel good to get a victory at Martinsville. What a great run for Christian Eckes.
Caitlin, what did you think of that finish there? Obviously, Christian Eckes was out in front and clean sailing, but the battle for second intensified at the end.
It certainly did, and I think that's just what we've grown accustomed to seeing at places like Martinsville. There you see Christian Eckes doing the burnout. He's a winner at the paperclip here with iRacing. That's got to be exciting for him.
And we'll be able to talk to Christian in just a few moments' time and ask him about the race after going to the back in this race and getting back up towards the front of the field and taking away the victory here in this eNASCAR iRacing Gander Outdoors Pro Invitational. You'll see your results on your screen. Christian Eckes is your winner this evening. Garrett Smithley in second. Derrick Rose in third. Christopher Bell in fourth. Max McLaughlin comes home in position number 5. Todd Gilliland put up a couple of great runs on restarts, but fell to 6th on the last run of the race. Kyle Long comes back to position number 7 at the end. Austin Hill in 8th. Anthony Alfredo in 9th, and Will Rogers completes your top 10. 11th on back, sees a couple more drivers that were near the front of the field earlier, including Parker Kligerman, falls to 11th at the end. Tyler Ankrum in 12th. Ryan Vargas in 13th, Myatt Snyder in 14th, Noah Gregson 15th, John Hunter Nemechek had some tough luck early. He finishes in 16th, Justin Haley, and the rest of the field. We're going to step away for just a few moments' time, and we'll get you ready for the post-race show, and we'll talk to some of these drivers who just ran 100 laps in this eNASCAR iRacing Gander Outdoors Pro Invitational. Don't go away.
Martinsville Speedway delivers the history, delivers the excitement, and delivers the unexpected. Martinsville Speedway delivers. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series returns to Martinsville for the STP 500 on March 24th. Tickets are on sale now and start at $47. Call 877-RACE-TICKS or visit www.martinsvillespeedway.com. Don't miss what the half mile of mayhem delivers next.
Welcome back to the virtual Martinsville Speedway for the NASCAR Gander Outdoors iRacing Pro Invitational. Just wrapped up here from the paperclip, and Christian Eckes coming away with the victory. Garrett Smithley and Derrick Rose, your top 3. And Michael, what did you think of that race? 100 laps at iRacing, your first introduction to something like this. What did you think of this?
See the racers competing. I'm friends with Christian's dad, George, and I know George is proud of his son and the progress he's made in the racing world. It was just a couple of years ago on a go-kart, Christian and I were mixing it up, and I could tell then he had a lot of talent and was able to really handle that go-kart. Just to see Garrett Smithley running up front, I'm a big fan of Garrett Smithley. Derek Kraus, the job he did when he made that first truck start out at ISM Raceway, I think he could be a future truck superstar. We all know where Christopher Bell is headed, the Cup Series in 2019. So raced against Max McLaughlin's dad, Mike, back in the 80s and 90s. I'm friends with Todd Gilliland. I just love seeing everybody taking a Tuesday night here, going out to Martinsville Speedway and doing some iRacing. I think it's great for the fans. It's great for the sport. And I think if these guys are able to compete against fans, add more folks to the race, that'll just make it even that much more fun.
And I believe we have Christian Eckes here, our winner this evening in the eNASCAR Gander Outdoors iRacing Pro Invitational. Christian, before we get to the end of the race, I have to ask you, you came down pit road early. What was that in the first couple laps on that caution flag?
Yeah, man, one guy tricked me. I don't even remember who it was, but I saw everybody come down behind me. And, I head down pit road, and I will see everybody juke me out. So, luckily enough, we were able to come through the field there. And it's just a lot of fun to be out here and, racing against all these guys on iRacing. It's always fun to be on iRacing.
And you had a couple of fakes in the middle of that race, too. That was pretty neat. But let's talk about the move with you and Garrett Smithley. You knew you had to go. Walk us through that move to take away the win.
Yeah, I definitely knew that we had a faster truck. I think he took tires there at the end. And, it's hard to pass just like it is in real life. And, honestly, you have to kind of pummel them to get out of the way. And, it's a lot of fun. And, I'm glad that iRacing provides that experience to be able to actually race how it actually is. And, you watch racing, and that's kind of, for the most part, how they make passes there. So, it's just glad to be a part of this.
How much has iRacing been able to help along with your racing career?
Yeah, it helps a ton. I'd say the biggest thing is just the speedway stuff because, it's a little bit different in how you can't really feel the race car, through your body, but in the same aspect, you really don't feel much in a speedway. So, just making moves and stuff like that. And same thing with short tracks, you can really be able to, make runs and figure out how to time them and stuff like that, which really applies to the real life deal.
Hey, Christian, it's Michael. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I gotcha.
This has been a lot of fun. It's my first night watching a big race on iRacing. You did a great job. I told the viewers earlier that you and I raced each other's on a go-kart back a couple years ago, and I can tell you had a lot of talent then. What about those lessons you learned as a kid, whether it was on a go-kart or a Legends car? Now you're in this truck racing iRacing, down some of the biggest competition in NASCAR truck racing. How's that feel?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I like how you said that. I think we made some passes like that too at that place. So, it's been a lot of fun, and like I said, it's always cool to come on iRacing, and me, Harrison, and Todd, all teammates at KBM, get on, and we race all the time, and it really helps, especially like I said, when we went to Daytona, we were on 5 or 6 times just hosting and racing with fans, and it was a lot of fun to be able to do that. But at the same time, we learned a lot as far as going to the racetrack, and it helped a lot for when we showed up.
Well, I want to just say this to you. I appreciate the fact that you guys do that, and it gives fans a chance to test their skills against guys that are really in the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series and racing Xfinity or Cup or whatever. It's really cool you take your time to share your night with the fans, and congratulations on that big win. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. But yeah, like I said, man, it's a lot of fun, and especially when you get into rooms where it's kind of relaxing. You get all the fans in there, you just have a fun time interacting with them, and it's just a really fun experience to be able to just kind of sit back and not be as serious at the racetrack and just have fun and race hard.
And there you go. There's our winner, Christian Eckes. And Christian, does it put a target on your back now for this next one that we do with the Gander Outdoors Pro Invitational? Do you feel any pressure on your back for that next one now?
I don't know. I might have an X on my back from the fact that, I crashed a lot of cars tonight, but I'm not really sure, but we'll have to see. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Well, there you go. Great to catch up with our winner, Christian Eckes, our winner this evening at Martinsville for the NASCAR Gander Outdoors 100 iRacing Pro Invitational. And now we'll catch up with Garrett Smithley. And Garrett, you had Christian on the back bumper. Tough race between you and the 51.
Yeah, it was tough. I had a lot of fun. I did not think I was going to have that much fun because as much as I love iRacing, Martinsville is very low on my favorite track list, and I had a lot of fun. I just couldn't hold them off there. That last pit stop, I took 2 tires, which I really thought was going to be a mistake, and ended up being able to keep the lead for the better part of the end of that race, and just couldn't hold Christian off. He was better all day long. So I knew when I saw that 51 in the back mirror that was going to be an issue. But no, all in all, really, really fun, and came home second. So that was a surprise for me.
Michael, what's the name on the back of Garrett's truck?
Garrett, I don't know if you know this, but the back of your truck is all messed up. And I was trying to read it, and it's like, it's got a lot of extra letters in it. But I wanted to tell you, I'm a big fan of yours. I appreciate the effort and how hard you race. It was really cool to see you running up front. I just want to know, as a competitor myself, what was the difference? How come Eckes was able to track you down? Because it looked like to me you never missed your line once.
Yeah, I just think the tire deal. You know, we took two tires on that last pit stop, and I don't know what kind of tire strategy he was on. I don't know if he stayed out or if he just had, he had four tires there. But I was just trying to hang on, and he was about a tenth better than we were, you know, all race long. So I knew, you know, I think he could roll the center a little bit better, and like you alluded to, he definitely beat our back bumper. But hey, that's Martinsville. That's why we love short track racing, and we made it work. And I don't think it'd be a true Martinsville race without a beat up truck at the end.
You know, and I wanted to tell you this. You remind me a lot of Ross Chastain. Ross, you know, he was a Xfinity racer. He's run trucks. He's done it all. And we saw once he got the opportunity to go racing in a top level vehicle, he was able to pull to victory lane. Tonight, it gave me those same feelings toward you. You got a great truck. You were able to go out there and run up front. So congratulations. I know you wanted the W, but you certainly proved that you belong in NASCAR, and wins are ahead for sure.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm just trying to get as many laps as possible in anything. This past weekend, in real life California, got to run the Cup Series race and got to run the Xfinity race. Had another really good top 20 finish for us at Fontana, and you know, looking forward to the week off in real life, and hopefully doing a little bit more iRacing, and maybe getting some W's here with the fans. We'll see.
You know what? You know what's fun for me? Like iRacing, obviously it's not real. It looks real, and the competitors are real, but it's iRacing. And then when it's over, it's real. I get to talk to you. That's so cool. I get to talk to you about your race. So this is fun. Appreciate iRacing hosting these Tuesday night events, and appreciate you nearly getting the win. Christian just edged out there late.
Yeah, just barely. And thank you for being here, Michael. I saw your name here on TeamSpeak, and I'm sure the broadcast was awesome. And it's just another way for fans to kind of get close to us. I was actually streaming on my personal Twitch channel, and it's just another way for us to reach out to the fans and have a little bit of fun. Even if it's not in real life, it's still real racing. We're still real drivers, and we're still having a lot of fun.
Well, it feels real, and Caitlin Vincey also took time tonight to join us, and I'm sure you'd rather talk to her than me anyway, but she's here as well.
Well, thank you, Blake. Probably. Did you have fun, Caitlin? Was that pretty cool?
It was very cool. This is my first time seeing one of these events, and it's been really interesting to hear all of the drivers talking about how much it helps you for the real thing. And this gets me really pumped up for our race at Martinsville for the Truck Series on Saturday.
No, yeah, it's that's what's so cool about iRacing. It's so realistic. They laser scan the tracks, they laser scan the cars, and even though I haven't ever raced a lap at Martinsville in NASCAR competition, it's I can say that I ran it on iRacing, and when the time comes when I do get that opportunity, I'm gonna have a lot of virtual laps. So it's a really cool program, and it gives an opportunity for fans to come out and race with us. So if you guys are listening out in iRacing world and in the internet land, we'll be racing a lot this week, and looking forward to it.
Well done,
I will tell
Garrett.
I'll tell you this too, Garrett. I've actually raced at Martinsville. I think I saw in the stats today I ran 47 races there, and I've never driven that track virtually until today. And the similarities are amazing. The way it feels, the way you got to hug that curb and get the gas down gently to keep from spinning your tires. I'm the opposite of you. I've never driven it virtually until today, but I've raced it for 25 years in real life, and to be able to experience iRacing today, and then be able to bring it to the fans, and then see you go out there and have so much fun. We're opposites. That's pretty funny.
It's cool, and I will say I'm so excited to see esports and the iRacing Pro League and some of these cool events, you know, like tonight where iRacing put on a race for us road racers to get together and do it. I'm really glad that it's taken off, and I think the sky's the limit for the platform like this, and I'm really interested to see where esports goes in NASCAR.
Garrett, before we let you go, you talked about your personal Twitch. Give us a little plug on that and let them know where they can see you race and play when you're on your off time.
Yeah, I'm on there. I try to get on there as much as I can. I can't tell you how many fans have come up to me, especially last year. I kind of really got big into it, and how many fans came up and said, "Hey, thank you for streaming, because it gives us an opportunity to kind of hang out with you and talk with you kind of one-on-one." So it's just twitch.tv/gsmithley43. I usually tweet it out and go on Instagram and Snapchat and post when I'm going to be on there. So I try to get on there and do a little PUBG and do a little iRacing and maybe a little bit of NASCAR heat too. So we like to have fun, and just watch for me on it during the week. It's a lot of fun.
And there's Garrett Smithley coming home in position number 2. And follow along on his Twitch channel to see what he's up to on the esports side of things. Garrett, thanks for joining us. We're going to move on over to Derrick Rose, who finished in position number 3 this evening. Derrick, you started up front, but where did you come from at the end? It seemed like you mounted a charge at the end. Was looking at Garrett for a second. Where did you come from?
Yeah, I got caught up in a few early messes in the beginning stages of the race that sent me back a little bit, but that yellow in the middle stages of the race, that helped me a lot, and then I got better track position then.
Michael, looking at that truck on your screen, we talked earlier about characteristics of Martinsville. That 19 truck at Krause's looks pretty clean.
You did a good job, Derrick. It was a lot of fun to watch you make your truck start at ISM, get that top 10 finish last year. You got the 2019 season started off in a great fashion when you won down at New Smyrna. How do you feel about the rest of the season? When are we going to see in the truck? You're going to be at the real Martinsville this weekend?
Yeah, that'll be my first truck race this year, is Martinsville, and then Dover after that. But I'm really looking forward to the Martinsville race this weekend. I feel that BMR will bring me a great truck, and I really feel like going into practices we got to focus hard on making the truck well, and then throughout the race just staying clean and not making any mistakes.
You know, it's interesting you say that. I was talking a bit ago with Garrett. I raced Martinsville, but never had done it on iRacing until today. How much iRacing preparation have you done for your Martinsville truck start this weekend?
Yeah, I'm on here pretty much every night with a bunch of buddies. I get on here. We got a team called Pay the Bills, and then I got the opportunity to go to the TRD simulator, so that helps a lot. And I feel like it'll translate a lot over into the real life racing at Martinsville Speedway, so I'll be a little bit ahead when I get to the racetrack. I'll feel like I've been there before, and that'll help me a lot.
Well, I certainly look forward to watching you this weekend. Your debut in the trucks was awesome. I love Bill McAnally. He's given so much to this sport. It's fun to see you get this opportunity, and it's going to be fun for me to follow along and see how you do.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for putting us on tonight. It was a blast.
And Caitlin, what did you think of this run that Derrick Rose put on? We just saw on your screen he was using every piece of real estate around this racetrack trying to get around here. What did you think of this run by Derrick Rose?
Yeah, we were talking about it, obviously, towards the tail end of the race. Very impressed to see him coming right there into the picture. Nice job by you. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can do this weekend at Martinsville. Obviously, Michael and myself are part of the broadcast team, so we have our expectations set high for you now based on what we saw you do here today.
Yeah, hopefully we can follow up the real Martinsville race on Saturday with a great finish and stay out of trouble and stay clean the whole race and hopefully finish in the top 10.
And we look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Derrick, thanks for taking some time out and joining us, and congratulations on finishing third this evening.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for putting this event on.
So there's Derrick Rose in third, and I believe we're going to slide on over and chat with Kyle Long. And Kyle, we chatted last week before the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series, but you got to do some racing yourself here this evening. What did you think of the race here tonight at Martinsville?
Man, it was a lot of fun just to be able to be a part of this tonight and get to experience some real talented drivers out there. It was just a blast for me.
Now, I know you got to watch last week's race at the Auto Club Speedway and got to see Phil Diaz and Cody Bias get up on the wheel. Were they giving you any sort of encouragement to try to get a little closer towards the front of the field and trying to pressure the boss at all?
Oh, man, I think those guys knew to just leave me alone. I was so nervous about racing with these guys tonight, and you know, it was a great thing last week, and we're excited to get to Texas. But you know, tonight was just about having fun and getting some exposure for NASCAR and the Gander Sports. What is it? The Martinsville 100 tonight.
Michael, what did you think of the run by Kyle Long? Do you think he can get in the truck on Saturday and do the same thing?
Well, it might be a bit of a challenge for Kyle to do that, but I wanted to say thank you, Kyle, for getting out there with our racers. I know when this event ended tonight, you had a lot more respect and appreciation for the talent of the guys that were able to go out there and run up front. Christian Eckes with the victory, and all the guys that were ahead of you. It had to make you, it had to open your eyes to say, wow, these guys are actually really good at this stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, as you alluded to earlier, it's one of those things where, you know, anybody can get on a sim and turn laps, but for these guys to be so fast and to be able to do the real thing, I have a tremendous amount of respect for these guys. I mean, they put their bodies on the line every week, and it's really impressive. You see a guy like Derrick, a young man who's just super talented, and he's obviously very serious about his craft.
Isn't it really cool that we're talking about virtual racing, but actually the people that are good at it in real life are good at it virtually as well?
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable how it seems to translate. I wouldn't know. I don't have much race experience.
Caitlin, what did you think of the run tonight by Kyle Long all the way back up to position number 7?
I mean, I think you did a nice job. And I know that obviously we recognize you from the NFL, but you're an avid iRacing member. What kind of drew you to our world of racing?
Well, growing up in Central Virginia, it was kind of, you know, you're either really into football or really into NASCAR or really into both. And I kind of fell into the both category, and I've become more and more of a fan